All right, hey folks, we are back for another session of artwork this morning for the Eberron adventure that we're creating. That you can see the cover here on screen, the Crystals of Mabar. This is for the Eberron campaign setting. It'll be publishing on the DMsGuild. It's for characters 7th or 8th level, like 5 7th level characters or 4 8th level characters. The amount of XP that you need and the CR balance for those two combinations is the same. It's like within 100 experience points. So it's incredibly close. Hold on, I'm checking to make sure my signal is good. Mic check, mic check. Sure, my signal wow, is that good. Is, yeah, that's good and solid. It's too loud. So let's bring that down so that it's still too loud. Can I bring that to a point? There we go. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to take a second here just to do some quick updates, to do some social postings, just to announce that I'm kicking around. So just to entertain you with my countdown here. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I have been a DM since 1987. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004. I've been a freelance illustrator in the RPG gaming industry since 1999, sparingly. I'm not famous or anything. Let's see, what's the rest of it? Oh yeah, I've been producing content on the DMsGuild since 2018, but I've never actually published an adventure. So this is a great opportunity for me to actually do that, and I love the Eberron campaign setting. It's been my world of choice, like I said, since 2004. It's just the bee's knees. So I guess without further ado, let me fix my screen here, and we'll wrap up the intro. So if you think today is cool or anything else that I've been going on, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Here's an entire all 431 episodes. I was just creating all of the maps, assets, the page layouts, all the stuff that we've done on this over the past year or so. Over a year at this point. Jeez, McCrow. It's taken us a long time to build this. I don't think it's ever going to take me this long to create an adventure again. This is probably the slowest process I've ever had, but I really enjoy this adventure. So, okay, so without further ado, we made this cover around episode 40. You can jump into the Wayback Machine of the list and check it out if you want to. But right now, we're working on this page. This is in the extending the campaign, the adventure itself, and then there's expanding the adventure, and then beyond that, there's expanding the campaign. So this is in the third appendix where it talks about modifying and expanding on different components that are inside of this work. And so this was illustration that we were working on in February. That basically describes Undead Unleashed. If your characters aren't successful in this adventure, then basically an Ultraloth raises an army of undead to take on the continent of Corvair, and who knows, maybe you'll win. But the other thing that's talked about here are the artifacts of the plane. The Eye of Mabar, which is used to create the manifest zone, where the adventure is centered inside of an artificially created manifest zone by an artifact called the Eye of Mabar. Emerald Claw cultists have have stolen the eye from the archives of Ader Academy, taking it to a remote location in the Carnwood, and are performing this ritual to create a manifest zone for fun and profit. So if your characters are successful, they stop the necromancers and then either return the artifact to Ader Academy or destroy it, or keep it for their own use. It is an artifact. It does good things, or horrible things. It does horrible things. But it is power. So, I mean, cheers. Anyway, so the Eye of Mabar can be one of 13 different artifacts, each forged in the plane they are attuned to. And here's the list of artifacts, and we don't have number 12 listed because we already resolved the Eye of Mabar as part of this adventure. Each artifact has unique powers as described in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and can stabilize a manifest zone with a ritual similar to the one used by the Emerald Claw, unique to each artifact and plane. Other organizations and powerful individuals may attempt to use these artifacts to attain similar power as with the Eye, including the characters if they can obtain them. So the 12, one of the organizations, basically the Council of Evil, archmages and powerful beings that are like a shadow organization. The 12 wish to control them for power and resources. Aether Academy would value studying these artifacts. The Church of the Silver Flame quests to destroy them, and the Gatekeepers wish to use them to protect the world. These are 4 of the factions that you can include in the adventure if you want to inject more conflict or rival teams into the, or you could have the team as alternate plot hooks. The team could be hired by any one of these to actively pursue the adventure. So if you like were working for the Church of the Silver Flame, so thus use the church plot hook in this, you're sent off to figure out what's going on with this unexpected necromantic activity in the Carnwood that their diviners have detected. And once you detect that, then they'd be like, well, there's this other thing that's going on in Zendrik that we need you to go to Zendrik to find out what's going on in the ice plains there, while the Kiln of Riznia is being used to create a manifest zone to Rizia, for example. So you could just cascade off of that. And since this is like an 8th level adventure, and then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and then by 20th level, you'd have all 20 artifacts, or all 13 artifacts if the DM wants. And then you could, like as the capstone to your campaign, reshape the planes of existence to do as you please. So anyway, so here's all the art. Here's just illustrations of what those artifacts look like. And so for now, let's continue our work. We've been working on the pipes of, what's it called? Serania. So the flute of Serania, the Azure Sky. So it's a wind instrument to be punny with the air elemental aspect of Serania. But we don't provide any mechanical details about the artifacts in this book because that's what you call scope sprawl. If you fully flesh out all the ideas that you could ever have that crop up about an adventure that you're playing around with, then I mean you would then have an infinitely large book, because every time you read content, it spurs new ideas. You gotta kind of learn how to reel that in so it doesn't become overwhelming, but becomes material that you as the creator would enjoy coming back to and exploring further. Because anyone that's right, I got a bunch of books I've published on the DMs Guild already, and they're all listed down here. They all have free previews. Check these things out. There's like 6 or 7 books in the Color Mana bundle. We're working on another 2 or 3 books for Spelljammer, Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, and the Point Warlocks. Those naturally bundle together, but they're also part of the Color Mana system. Theurgy ability check casting is something that I use all this stuff in my campaigns. Like the level 1 to 20 Spelljammer Eberron campaigns that I run, I also use a color mana system so that you can visualize magic as colors instead of the vague, ambiguous 8 schools of magic that aren't narratively inspiring like Magic the Gathering is. I really wish that when Wizards took over D&D, they had decided to mix their IPs a little bit more than what they've done with Ravnica and Theros, etc. Because color mana system or color magic is just so much more fun than the 8 schools of magic. They own the IP. They could decide to walk away from the 8 schools and the spell slot system if they were willing to actually tread new ground. But they I mean, I don't blame them for not. I just thought it would have been bold and inspiring for them to take Magic the Gathering, which is just crazy awesome flavor, and use it to reimagine Dungeons and Dragons from their perspective, considering what elite experts in the gaming industry they once were. Back in the 90s and 2000s when they took control of D&D. It's just I imagine they themselves had thought at some point this would be super cool to mix with Magic the Gathering, and it took them 20 years to finally get to that place of trying. It's as an MTG enthusiast and a D&D lifer. I've been running campaigns in D&D for like nearly 40 years now. Since '87 is when I first got my books, and I've been playing the game ever since, if not DMing it. And I just think it'd be a lot of fun if Wizards was more bold than they are. I think they artificially restrain themselves, or maybe Hasbro restrains them. I'm not sure who, but why they wouldn't want to dive into MTG further it's just beyond me. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. That feels good. Okay, cool. So we've got the start of a decent pipe here, or flute. So now we need to introduce the wind holes. I don't know what these are supposed to be called. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you, Timely Timer. I have a 20-minute timer that goes off so I can keep track of time. I'm going to be back on today, probably at lunchtime here in Seattle, probably around 12:30 or so. And we'll be working on the converting the spell point, the artificer, the playtest artificer for the 2024 rules, converting them to the spell point system that we use with Magic. And so there's 5 subclasses. We've converted the cartographer and the battlesmith already. Today we're going to convert. We're going to finish completing the conversion of the artillerist. And by this time next week, we'll finish all the artificer, and then we'll use our lunchtime to do something different. Probably continue working on Spelljammer stuff. We've got a book of subclasses that use the fleet combat mechanics that we've developed for the Spelljammer campaign, which is linked down below. But I'm a big fan of mass combat. I'm a big fan of Dominion style of play, where characters amass followers and armies and territory and defend it like kingdom style, which is what the old Beckme system graduates you into after you get out of the dungeons, crawling around in there, accumulating wealth and fame. You use that wealth and fame to forge an empire that your characters have control over, and that's a fun style of play that's been pretty much abandoned by the dungeon punk theme of 3rd, 4th, and 5th edition. Which I don't disparage. I love the I love the D20 game engine. I love the 5e game engine in particular. I think it's really good. I like the DM side of 4e. I like the player side of 5e. But I loved. It took me a hot minute to figure out what was going on with 3rd edition, but I purchased it immediately when I saw it. I was like, I guess maybe it was it March of 2000? I don't remember exactly when it released. That's easily looked up. I just don't know it I don't know the date off the top of my head. But I immediately fell in love with 3E. I just had to take a little, just read the book, and it was like, oh wow, there's some cool stuff happening here. It took a while for me to understand the mechanics of it. It was a big phase transition because I've been using 2nd edition for like a decade prior to that. And then, 1st edition prior to that, and Redbox before that, and so or Beckme in general. By the time I got out of the basic box set for D&D, I was the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was already kicking, and so my 13-year-old mind at that point was like basic. Beyond basic is advanced, so let's just start playing advanced D&D instead. It's all the same, right? I didn't know the difference. Attitude is the same, just AD&D had far more mechanics involved with like how the game runs and the world is built, and had a lot more DM tools as well as more player options too, but more DM tools to build worlds and to have the world interact with your characters, and for your characters to it leaned away from the Dominion style. I don't like they had building castles and stuff like that in the DMG, but it wasn't the focus. Not like it was highlighted in the expert box set of BECME. I think I'm pretty happy with this. I think I can pretty much at this point let this sit. Just doing some line cleanup here. The cleaner I can make my line art, the easier it's going to be to color it later. So it's a little sketchy still. So I think I just want to clean up this bramble a little bit here, just to. I don't need to do shading. I can just stick with the line art, Kearney. Don't worry about the shading. You'll get the shading done when you colorize it. There. We're just about ready to move on to the next piece. This book is a 16 by 9 format. It's 10 inches tall, 17 inches wide, which is a little off from 16 by 9, but it's pretty close. It's close enough that here, if I make this full screen, I have a 16 by 9 monitor. And so if I blow this out to fill the monitor 69 by 9 space, it's like you can see here, it like a little bit of margin hangs off the side here, but let's get rid of that. But otherwise, this is pretty much a perfect fit. Now, these little buttons here at the bottom, table of content, introduction, plot hooks, part 1, section A and region A and B, part 2, region A, B, C, part 3, and then appendix 1, 2, and 3. These are just navigation buttons that take you to the beginning of each section that you can just press and it'll just bounce you to that location. But otherwise, so they're not actually important for the adventure. But like if you full screen your document on a PD, like on a tablet or like in your phone, this font size is 12-point font. Like this should be incredibly easy for you if you're looking at full screen at this and like have your device tilted sideways like this. That's unless you have horrible vision like me, you're probably able to read everything that's on this page. And so that's intentional. On a tablet, this is easy to read. It's something that you can keep behind your DM screen as a digital document using your tablet. But also, each column is 10 by 5.5, which is roughly a 16 by 9 format as well. So an individual, if you hold your device vertically, it won't work because I'm on YouTube and it's forcing perspective here. But on a device, you can have a single column be apparent at a time in the vertical. So horizontal, you see a whole page at once. Vertical, you can look at one column at a time. And the adventure, it's taken me so long to do the layouts of this adventure. I've been literally working on the layouts for months in the evening while I do artwork in the mornings like this, because all the information has to be parsed so that it's self-contained inside of one column. So each column has like their own complete thoughts. So I not only need to compartmentalize single ideas so that they fit inside of the space that they have, but like if it's a topic that spans multiple columns, I have to be able to break them up so that they align. And then like on all the pages, like with maps and stuff, I have to have enough space on the page for the maps to correspond with the conversation about what's on the map. And you saw some of that process back in December when I was doing the first section of this adventure, breaking up the village map and all the NPC villager tokens into their components and aligned them with like, here's the granary, and here's the map to the granary, and then here's all the information about the granary that frames around the map of the granary. And that's what we've been doing with this book. And holy shit, that's difficult. This like I said, this has taken me a really long time. Not only is it a comprehensive adventure that's broken up to be modular, so you can use any component of it as part of the whole, or separate it, add or remove it from the adventure as the DM wants. For replayability, it's designed for professional DMs to have an adventure that they can use in the Eberron campaign setting at 7th or 8th level, which is a good level of power. If you're just doing some one-shots, that 7th and 8th level is a good level to be at, because you have enough power. You're not capable of transforming the world, but you can also get kicked around a lot by bad guys and not worry about getting killed right away. So it's a great level to be at as far as one-shots go. So this is built to be allowed to be a one-shot, or like a series, like 3 or 4 sessions, or it could be part of an ongoing campaign. It could be 6 or 7 sessions on its own without much difficulty. You could expand it out to 12 sessions if you wanted to really lean into all of the content, or you can just thread it into a campaign that you already have for characters that are in Karnath, or have a way of getting there to pursue like this artifact idea. So it's been an ambitious project, and so we'll see how it shakes out. But I'm pretty proud of it so far. I like how it does. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. We're now working on the banner of Shavareth the Battleground. It's kind of like Avernus. I think it's where devils, demons, and angels go to fight. So it's a banner, a war banner. I can hear myself way too much. What is going on with that? I gotta drop that volume down a bit. That will hopefully be better. I don't want to turn off the volume completely, but I don't want to have an echo in my own ear about what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's better. I can barely hear myself, because sometimes sometimes OBS just craps out and it drops stream. It's unreliable tech, and so I want to make sure that there's some sound going on in the background. So like if all the sound, if my voice suddenly cuts out, I'm like, okay, something must have gone wrong with the stream. So that's something that's happened to me more than once in the past. So I like to keep that echo rolling, just so I can retain some self-awareness. Speaking of self-awareness, hey Steve, how you doing? It is Friday, my dude. Yeah, I like the volume, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the pipe turned out, or the flute. We'll come back and we'll colorize it. As it stands right now, it's kind of like an ocarine, so I could hold the thing like this, and you got your little finger pads here, so that should work out. Anyway, that's the idea. Yeah, so now we're moving on to the banner of Shavareth. And this is pretty simple. It's just a war banner. Maybe I should change the title to War Banner instead of just banner. Banneret. I don't know. Banneret, I think, is the banner carrier. I don't know. Let Bob be your uncle. I don't have a lot of work I need to do on this. I'm just doing some basic cleanup, and we'll drop the emblem of Shavareth onto the banner. Keep it clean. Every other week on Saturday evening, I am part of a Curse of Strahd campaign, and our characters are just about ready to get 6th level. I'm playing a divine soul sorcerer using the color mana system of green and white mana. I'm a devotee of Selûne, the goddess of the moon in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting, and the moon is the white and green of Selesnya is a little ironic because the moon and night, but it's actually Shar, the goddess of secrets and betrayal. That's like a shadow. It's like the shadow of the moon, Selûne. She hides in plain sight that way, and so Shar is more like black white or maybe black blue energy, while Selûne as a natural part of the cycle and a good aligned goddess that is both defender of natural occurrences and lunar and sky cycles and stuff like that, but is also a community builder. Makes her a little more naturally a white-green energy as opposed to, wait, something's going weird. There we go. But that's something I get to participate in every other week. As famous and popular as Curse of Strahd is, I've never read it, I've never played it, so I'm having the opportunity to approach it with what's the word I'm looking for? With zero experience, with eyes unclouded by hate. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Our friend who runs it, he does professional DM stuff. So he was who I was really thinking about when we made this adventure. When we made this adventure to be friendly to professional DMs that want Eberron content that they can run more than once and themselves be entertained by it. To have multiple paths and different plot points and different rewards and tools that the characters have available to them in the adventure here to be able to overcome the challenges that they face. So replayability, that's the key to professional DMs, is something that they can learn and run multiple times and enjoy, to basically add to their docket of like, here's stuff that we can do. Like that. So far so good. So what? Again, these are all colored, so I'm just laying down the line art to create. It's like I work like initially it's like comic books. I do the line art, then I do the color underneath the line art, and then I merge the two layers together and blend the line art into the color, so it has a more semi-realistic look to it, more like what you would expect in a Wizards of the Coast book, or high-end, or like Magic the Gathering, like higher-end painting. So it's just an illustration technique that I enjoy. It's not the most. It's not nearly as quick as just doing black and white art. It's not as and it's not to the level of quality of like full oil paintings. It's a happy, pardon the pun, but it's a happy medium between the two that is particularly good for digital production. Like semi-realistic blending color in with art like comic book style is particularly. What I'm trying to say is the comic book style is just naturally resonates with the tools that you have in digital art production. like I would say comic books is comic book art is the most natural style to align with what digital tools can do. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling. I got plenty of sleep last night, so I'm happy about that. My sleep cycle has been very generous to me lately. And you know, I don't feel like I need to pontificate on this too much. I can just let's go find the symbol of Shavareth, and there it is. These symbols are so cool, man. No. Let's go here. Let's go free transform. Let's do a little bit of perspective. Like that a bit. Yeah, like that. And then no, I'm not thinking right. Let's do it. Let's do this correctly. Hey, timely timer. Free transform. Flip horizontal. There we go. Merge down. Very rough symbol. We'll clean it up. So now we'll work on the perspective here properly. About like that. Skew. Right now we're just lining up a perspective along the pole. And then we're going to stilt it offline. And now we're going to duplicate the layer. And let's go into warp. So we can shape the banner to fit the curve of the banner itself. That's not quite correct, but it's a place to start. So we can take this, we can drop this down, and so I can put this across here like this, and I can come in here like this and basically duplicate this curve effect here. And I know it doesn't go all the way through. It's gonna cut off. This will go away. But right now we're just trying to get the curve to align with. Let's see, free transform. There, like that. Yeah, that'll do. Then here, we want to get a little bit of this wibble going on here so that it feels like it's painted onto the fabric instead of just overlaid, right? Do 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 do. I want roughly this curve like this, but then it thins down to like this. So I need to have something that's kind of like in between those two. It's like this is a little bit more of a curve than what this is, but it's less than that is. It's like that's the, you know, we're transitioning from one side of the banner to the other with how it's being affected by the wind. The winds of change. So saith the scorpions. Just thin it down, buddy. Just thin it down a little bit. Okay, not bad. And now I want to add a separate layer. Like this. Yeah, like that. Looks like we're going to have a team of 4, maybe 5 people on Saturday in the Mega Dungeon. And that's great news because we're basically, after this session, we get to level up to 5th level. And they're pushing into higher CR threats now. And so it's time. They're starting to deal with 5th level content, but they're only 4th level. So they've moved far enough into the dungeon. They push into the dungeon and then they slide back to secure an area. And once an area is secured, they can sleep there. But they have to completely, like, the map is broken up into zones, basically like 500-foot areas. Each 500-foot area is a separate zone. So they go through and they find all the rooms and they resolve all the threats and traps and stuff that are in the room, and then it becomes secured. And then they can use that place for a long rest without having to worry about being attacked overnight because they've secured it. But once, so that they can, you know, take long rests and tackle pieces of the dungeon day by day, session by session. Each session is a day. And we probably get through anywhere from 2 to 4 fights, depending on how many people we have, how quickly we're able to get started, and how much shenanigans make rise as part of the game. Sometimes we have, like, let's get to work days. Sometimes we have sillier, let's fuck around and find out sort of days. But they've gotten to a place where all they need to do now is secure their current zone. And they'll have enough they'll have enough wealth for them to gain the next level, so they get to go back to town, dump their loot, decide what magic items they want to keep. Oh crap! I haven't updated the loot list. I need to do that. They got some cool new loot. They got some spears and magic spears and magic shields last session. Every time they find a secret room, there's either weapon or equipment loot in them, and if they can't, if they don't just naturally find the loot on their own during their adventuring, once they secure an area, they basically have like downtime to check all the walls and stuff without having to worry about using that time. Like the adventure time that they spend is mostly used pushing into new space, conquering territory, and killing monsters that are threats. And once they've cleared a zone of threats, then the narrative is that during downtime and during the long rest, they can go along and they can find all the secret passages. And when they find the secret passages, if they're trapped, then they wait until the following session to then deal with the traps. So that's been working really, really well. Speaking of working really well, I'm pretty happy with this. We might change the color of it, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with this. It could be better. Wow, what's up with all this shit? Okay, we don't need that. We don't need that. So let's go down here and call this trash. Symbol, banneret, good to go. Okay, let's do this again. Kind of like that. That's too thick. Like this. I'll probably change this to a red. So far, so good. So what? Use a separate layer to make sure I don't accidentally make a mistake that is going to be difficult to correct because I'm screwing up the other line work here. So keeping that separated. Let's do like that. There we go. That's better. There we go. Just like that. I'm not saying a lot right now. Sorry. I guess I'm concentrating. But yeah, that's the idea. I mean, it's very simple compared to like a lot of other stuff that we've got going on. But that's how it's written. So that feels pretty good. Yeah, that'll do. Simple. Good. Yeah, I like that. I feel that feels really good. I'm gonna drop the opacity on that a touch so it's not just so blazing. Nah, fuck it. Let's leave it black. Stay blazing. You be blazing, buddy. All right. So that was what, number 9, Banner of Savarath. The Kiln of Rizia and the Seed of Lamania. How are we doing on time? It's only 7. Holy shit. It's only 7? Dude, we're rocking it today, guys. We are rocking it today. All right, I'm going to... I'll probably end a little bit early today. So I'll give myself another 40 minutes. So let's see. Okay, so a kiln isn't very intuitive. I think I'll work on the seed of Lamania today instead of the kiln of Riznia. I'm questioning. I like the idea of a kiln. A kiln is a device. It's like almost like an oven. It's like a low temperature oven that's designed to dehydrate pottery. And Rizia is the plane of ice. What's it called? Rizia, the plane of ice. There you go. So the idea a kiln is baking ice. It's a weird idea, right? A lot of these artifacts are either paradox or contradictions or puns in some sort of way. And like the Eye of Mabar. Mabar is the endless night. You can't see in endless night. But the eye has power over it. So like it's a paradox contradiction, a pun, as it were. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the idea of a kiln is clever. Let's go with number 7, which is Seed of Lamania. No, I don't want to do that. Let's duplicate that layer. Where'd you go? There you are. Trash. So let's mess around with the seed for a little bit. See what we come up with. I'm gonna start with like an almond seed. Texture. Well, maybe a bit here at the top. All right, well, that's a seed, but it's also not very exciting. So, duplicate. Not not very difficult, but also not very inspiring, I guess. I don't know. It's just pretty basic. Some soily texture stuff going on here. Maybe that'll help out. Let's duplicate yet again. So many duplicates. Yeah, that makes more sense. Just a little bit of ground soil and grit does a lot to help the narrative of what's going on here, I think. A seed is supposed to be underground, but you can't really show something. You can't visualize something. You can visualize it, but you can't really illustrate something that's buried. It's like, yeah, underneath here, there's a seed. Don't worry about it. And if I had a plant shooting up, then it would be like, the sprout, the sprout of Lamia, as opposed to the seed, which doesn't have the same ring to it. Put some dirt up around here so it's got a little bit of texture going on with it. I don't have to overdo it though, just a little bit. Split this. Maybe I want to flip this. Flip it for real. save function. I don't think I need to be more complicated than this. I mean, it's pretty basic. We can just move on to the next piece, probably. I think I need to change the kiln though. It feels. Wait, how big is this in comparison? Oh, it's about the same size. Good. Yeah. 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 Okay. We're good. We're good here. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit though. Drop down the size just a smidge. Yeah, the kiln is. I'm really reconsidering and questioning the kiln. It's such an awkward thing to illustrate. That feels good. Where are we at? 720? Cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna. No sense, you know, belaboring that one. It looks good. So let's move on to the next piece. Wow, we're making some time here, dudes. We'll at this rate we'll be coloring by Wednesday. That's great. So we're working on the last page in the cemetery right now in our page layouts, and that should be done. That should be done tomorrow. And then we have 4 pages worth of like conditions and like explaining how mechanisms and stuff work inside of the part 3 inside of the dungeon underground. It has like some like unique doors that it has and windows and stuff, and wandering encounters and different zones of clean air versus foggy air versus flooded areas that have different wandering encounters. So it's nothing too complicated, but it's probably going to take it'll probably take maybe 3 pages. Like when we're all said and done, maybe it'll take 3 pages, maybe 4, to suss that all out. And then once that's done, the only thing we will, like literally the only thing left will be after these last 4 pages is just the monster appendix with the new monsters that are introduced into this adventure. And hopefully that doesn't take too long. The monsters already exist. We just have to update the formatting and stuff to work with the new 5e24 monster manual. Now that the monster manual is out, we have the ability to actually do that. So I'm about a month behind where I think I expected to be, which isn't too bad for a fill. We're actually doing pretty good. And I'm thinking once we man, I'm really choking on this Rizia thing. I want to mess around with that. I want to change it. So maybe we don't. Maybe I just put that on the back burner and let my brain suss out what that could be, and instead let's just like work on the parasol of Marinia. Irian, sorry. Parasol of Irian. So Irian, the Eternal Day, it's a parasol, which is a sun blocker that you carry around to not get sunburn. So, you know, a little on the nose, but it's not ironic. It's just well, it is what it is. Sorry, I'm at a loss of words this morning. I don't know what's up with that. I guess I'm just having an off quiet day. All right, cool. So let's take this. Let's drop the opacity on you. All right, timely timer. Let's put some timer on it. It's 7:22. I'm going to give myself 20 more minutes to suss through whatever we got going on here. And so I suspect the sextant, the kiln, we'll wait until next week. I don't have time to play video games. I'm way too invested in creating books and artwork and this RPG craft in general to be able to like spend 70 hours or even 20 hours on a video game. Like I don't have a console. The last computer game that I played was the first Path of Exile. And back when Civilization 6 was out. So no, Civ 5. Civ 5 and Path of Exile 1 were the last two games on a computer that I actually played. Prior to that, I was playing a bit of League of Legends. So I went from League of Legends into Civ 5 into Path of Exile 1. And then I stopped playing computer games altogether. I didn't have time for it anymore because I really started to get into book design and running multiple tables and playtesting and blah blah blah. So I got too busy to do that. But I do need to have hobbies that aren't role-playing games to stay well-rounded. So it's just a burnout technique to prevent myself from resenting or putting too many eggs in the same basket, as it were. So I've started playing chess on chess.com, and I loved playing chess when I was younger. and stopped playing. I ran out. I stopped going to coffee shops and stuff, so I stopped running into people or meeting people that played chess, and I kind of lament that. I want to kind of get back into that eventually. But for now, I'm tethered to my desk here doing artwork and book design and stuff. It's a very solo activity, but on chess.com, I can, I can compete against the world and play chess, and chess is very satisfying. I only have like an 820 elo right now, so I'm not very powerful at all. But I started like everyone else on chess.com with a rating of 400, and I've climbed up over the past couple months, basically playing a game or two a day. And and I play the 15-minute format, so like that's something I can do like while I'm at a restaurant waiting for food, or at the bus stop waiting, or like while I'm actually like on the bus commuting somewhere. It's time that I can't spend building role-playing game books, but it is a way for me to disengage from the role-playing hobby and still stimulate my mind and train myself to basically look for alternate solutions, which I think is one of the really big strengths of chess that I don't think people really call out much, is the analytical approach to it. But I'm finding more and more often that my first, like when I do the analysis, like they have an AI called Stockfish that does an analysis, and it basically weighs you against everyone else that's ever made a move like you just did, and what was the natural next move that they made, and were they successful or not at winning the game. And that's how the Stockfish AI program is trained. It's like, who has won at chess using this strategy? How likely is this strategy you're currently following going to win? In of the millions of games that are played on chess.com, how successful is your strategy overall? And it rates you, and then it provides you, like, instead of doing that, you could have come up with this idea, and if you'd come up with this idea, you would have won in like 20 moves or whatever. It's like it goes to that analytical process, and it finds all these crazy things. But what's really crazy is that you get into this idea about like, what's a solution that I have to win this game, and then when you look at your review, you see all the things that you weren't able to see because you tunnel visioned on this particular idea. It's like, oh, if I had let go of this idea, I could have seen this, and this, and those would have been really cool to do. And hopefully you retain some of that. And there is some like just rote memory that goes into it about like if you're playing, like, for example, if you're playing the London system, if you don't get your white bishop out from the front line early enough, it ends up getting trapped and killed. Or like what is the Caro-Kann black defense? If you're playing Caro-Kann, and if you don't push your pawns and take enemy pawns in the right order, you end up losing an extra, like you end up losing more one extra horse compared to where your opponent's at, so you end up behind. And so it's not so much memorizing moves as it is learning the natural consequences of the decisions that you make. So it's, in that sense, it's really interesting. It's a way for you to feel the reward or punishment of thinking ahead, of seeing what's happening, of looking at the possibilities, and what is someone going, like, how is someone, when they're pressed up, when they're really being pressured, how do they respond? And like, I'll build situations where I think, oh, there's no way that my opponent's going to get the way out of this. I'm going to win this rook for free. And then they'll find a solution. I'm like, fuck, I was wrong. Sometimes it really screws me over because I was overlooking something. Sometimes they just find something that delays my plan. But every time that happens, it becomes like a ping in your head. It's like, this is a blind spot that you had where you thought you knew what you were doing, and in reality, you were missing the larger equation. So pay attention to that. It's a really interesting process. I like how that shape is overall, so I think I'm going to be okay with this. That's where it gets tricky, this curve over here. So that's something that I'm doing as a hobby now. And like I said, I'm only an 800 rating right now, but I've climbed from 400 over the past, I guess, 2 months. And so if I could, like 2,000, a rating of 2,000 is like really is pretty good. 2,700 I think is top rank right now in the world, around 2,700, which is like devastatingly strong. But if I can get myself during 15-minute games, if I can get myself to a rating of 2,000 in 15-minute games, then that probably means that I'll be able to compete at the 1,200 to 1,500 level in bullet games, which are like 3-minute games. And a 3-minute game is super fucking fast. And so it's mostly reflexes and instinct at that point, which is a space that I personally dwell. I personally thrive in that intuitive space. Just as, you know, the creature that is Phil is a very intuitive creature. And if I can get myself to a point where I'm good enough to be able to see in the slower, like I played the 15-minute game where you have 15 minutes, and then every time you play a move, you get an extra 10 seconds back. It's a very generous format that allows me enough time to study and think of solutions. Right now, while I'm still learning how to think, it allows me enough time to think. 10-minute games are a little bit too short for me. I am not liking this angle. I need to change the angle. I'm going to take this. Let's duplicate this layer. Trash. I'm going to change my angle here. See how easy it is for me to hit my mark when I'm going vertically instead of horizontally? God, that was easy. Super easy to hit these angles when I just tilt the drawing to be able to lean into the angles that I'm good at. But I had to approach the challenge of this parasol from a different direction. Which again, that's what chess is really good at teaching you, is how to approach problems from different angles. I really encourage people to check out chess or chess.com or any kind of chess app and just play some games, because it's really just good brain food. God, look at those angles, man. I'm just hitting these marks. Not bad. There we go. Nice. No complaint. No complaint. So let's get this guy lined up here. That was loud. There we go. Keep that separated. Yeah, there's a little bit of slop in here. We can fix this. Not bad. Let's take a new angle here. There. Nice. Not so bad. This is a little bumpity in here, but smooth that out. There we go. I tell you, I'm getting better at hitting these angles. Just more and more time spent and more relaxation. The more relaxed I am in my grip and just removing tension from my body while I'm doing these angles helps hit the mark a lot easier. They're not perfect, but hitting in the first 3 strokes isn't so bad. There. There we go. Nice angles. Hitting those marks, man, that feels good. We're almost out of time for the day, which is fine. I think we've made some like seriously solid progress today, so I'm pretty happy with where we're at. But like that. This angle here feels a little off. Let's drop the opacity there a little bit. Yeah, like that. That's a better curve. God, that was easy. Fucking effortless today, boys. Come on, Kearney, you can hit it. That was a pretty good impact right there. now I can clean up that edge. So let's drop this down a little bit. And let's see. That's pretty good. Not bad, not great. A little, the curve's a little bit off, so I'm gonna fix that. Let's drop this again here. I need to pinch in that curve a little. Yeah, like that. Just like that. There we go. All right, thank you. Where are we at? 7:42. I've still got a few minutes. I don't think I'm going to finish this today, but I think I'm in a really, really good place for tomorrow, for Monday next week. I'm going to really, really just set up the win here, kids. Nice. All right, well, that's where we're at so far. I'm feeling pretty fucking good about that. This is coming along nicely. We'll fancy it up and you know, Lamania it or whatever. We'll fix that up. We got to figure out what this kiln is supposed to be down here. This guy, because an ice kiln is just, that's hard to visualize. It's like the idea is okay, but it's just at a glance it doesn't make sense. So we got to figure that out. Cauldron's okay. Sextant's okay. Lantern is good. We gotta fix the kiln. We'll finish the parasol on Monday, and then we'll probably start in on the cauldron, and then we'll do on Tuesday. Probably build a lantern, and then Wednesday and Thursday we'll probably figure out the sextant. What a complicated piece of machinery that is. But we'll figure out the sextant. And then the last thing I guess we'll do is the kiln. I'm hoping between now and Tuesday we figure a better thing for it's Eerie. Excuse me. The Cauldron of K3, the Churning Chaos, Rizia, the Plane of Ice. There's got to be something that we can build for Rizia. We'll figure it out. God, I'm liking this assembly, though. This is good stuff. We're having fun. All right, this is it. I'm going to bounce out of here. I'm going to just bail a couple minutes early today. It's 7:45, but I'm feeling We've put in an hour and a half. That's not bad. That's not bad for a Kearney. We're doing good today. So I'm going to go ahead and kick out of here. Now I'm going to be back at I think around 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock. Maybe 1 or 1:30 is probably appropriate. Let's say between 1 and 1:30 ish. I'll be back on at lunchtime today. That's Seattle time, Pacific time. It'll be around 4:30 East Coast. We'll jump back on, and we'll build the Artillerist. That's what we're working on next. The Artifice Artillerist. We're going to continue updating it and complete the 2024 playtest revisions of it for the martial power system. We'll be back on. We're not going to be back until after lunch. We'll be back Monday morning to continue with artwork here. But we'll be playtesting martial powers this weekend on my server, on my Discord, which is linked down below if you're interested. Swing by, say hi, sit in if you want, or just shoot the shit with us. I'll see you guys on the other side. Laters.